Hi, my name is Adam Flynn, and in today's training video, we are going to look at the non-view-based acreage reporting process from within EASYmapping. To begin, I need to first select the Acreage tab, which will always bring you to the last used scenario of acreage reporting. In this case, the last time I used EASYmapping, I was utilizing view-based. To change over to non-view-based, you can see here, I simply need to select the text non-view-based. From within this process of acreage reporting, you're no longer limited to the actual views you have set up on the policy. As you can see here, we now have a view of all of the fields that are currently mapped. Within this acreage reporting process, there's a couple different ways you can actually get your acres reported. You can either A, start by selecting a field or multiple fields. In this case, I'll select a couple fields on this side, which is actually part of one view, and then I'll select a couple fields over here, which are also included in a different view. As you can see, as I click each field, they're tracked here in the FTF grid. And then from here, you can navigate down to the unit section and utilize our by location or global unit functionality, which I'll get to here shortly. But you also have the ability to select the add button here. When you select add here, it'll create 4 acreage lines representing each one of my 4 fields I selected. And then I can go ahead and assign units by selecting the unit column and then clicking from that drop down. So in this case, if I wanted to select corn, I can do that for each field. And then once I'm done there, I can go ahead and key in the plant dates. As I stated earlier, you also have the ability to utilize the unit section here. So let's go ahead and deselect these 4 fields real quick. I'm just going to use the deselect all fields icon, and I'm going to select a couple new fields. This time, instead of hitting the add button, I'm going to go ahead and make my way down to units. You'll see that by location is already highlighted for me, and this time I'm going to select the soybeans. You'll see, just like before with the corn, the fields highlight in color to represent that crop, and then I already have my units filled out for each one of those fields, and now all I need to do is key in the plant date. Now with the soybeans, we utilize the by location option from within the unit section. You also have the ability to use the global unit. And in order to show that, again, I'm going to deselect these fields and select a couple new fields. Now I'm going to go ahead and select the global unit, which allows me to pre-fill my crop, practice, type, and share percent. In this case, I'm actually just going to utilize the crop because you're not required to utilize all 4. This time I'll add wheat, which you can see there, and now I'm going to go ahead and select the add button. Like before, you'll see the fields will color green, which again represents wheat for this agency. I have my wheat units filled out here in the grid, and then I can go ahead and key in my plant date. Just like before with the view-based acreage reporting, as I report acres, they'll be tracked here, where you can either hover over the reported acres number there, or click this link, and again you'll see that reported acres tab, where again you can utilize the drop-down to view the different groupings between crop, which is your default selection, county, FSN, FSN and tract, section, and units. You can very quickly go back to units by just simply selecting that tab there. Let's one more time deselect these fields and select a couple new fields here. Well, in this case, let's go ahead and select the last 2 fields. And with these fields selected, I just want to point out you do have the ability to add FSA acreage, again just like before in the view-based. And you have the ability to sort numerically by FTF here as well. Now let's real quickly, I'm going to go back to by location. I'm going to deselect this field here and just work with this field. And I'm going to purposely create an error on this field. So I'm going to first add my corn unit. I'm going to remove the plant date. And what I'm going to do here is deselect my field. So take note, the current view, which we've seen all of our acreage lines so far, have fell under this selected fields grid. Once I deselect this field, you'll no longer see it here under the selected fields. So let's go ahead and deselect now. And you'll notice we now have a errors grid, which is tracking currently 1, which in this case is this field here because of the missed plant date. You can see once I key in that plant date, it'll no longer be an error, and once I click off that field or go back to selected fields, you can see those errors will drop off. I also want to point out that you can see currently the grid is empty, and that is again because we currently do not have any fields selected on the map. So you can see here if I just click and hold and select all of these fields, they once again show up in my grid with the acreage and units already tied to them, as well in the FTF grid here over on the right hand side. Also take note that you have the ability to dock these menus left or right, as well as float them so that you can report acres on a full map as well. And that is how you report acres from the non-view based process of EASYmapping.